breaking news, live, 2:36, straight on going up, and you can see, whoops, what happened there. Big old whoop, because I overtreated a low, and I didn't bolus then properly. Listen, it happens, so that is where we're at. But I just thought I'd add that in as a little bit of a reality check with type 1 diabetes. Hello! Hi, on that note, hi guys, welcome on back to She's Diabetic. My name is Andrea. You found out my blood sugar before my name if you're new here. So if you are new here, welcome. This is just a channel all about, well, that. Who's had that really horrific endocrinologist appointment that you've left feeling like a failure, you're doing a horrendous job, and you've been chastised, and you feel like you can't do anything right, and you feel really angry or sad or burnt out or frustrated or all the things as a result of? Raise your hand. Hey! Yep. I've been there. I've been there more times than I wish I had been there. So I thought from experience, I've been able to sort of create a pull in case of emergency set of 4 things that I do when I come back from an endocrinologist appointment. So not just come back, come out. So directly what I do when I leave the office, when I feel like I've just had a really horrific endocrinologist appointment that has made me feel terrible. If you've just walked out of one of those appointments, hello, I'm here. You're gonna get through this. And if you've had them in the past or you fear that you'll have them in the future, we got this. First up, when I walk out of that appointment, I am immediately on the phone to a friend, a colleague, a family member, a spouse. I am immediately on the phone with someone that I can vent to. And big asterisk there, somebody that I can vent to that's not gonna judge me. I'm not telling you to call up that family member or whatever, that friend that's like, you know, maybe the doctor's right. Maybe you should listen. That's not what you want to hear right now. And that's like so not helpful. So call up the friend. For me, it's my husband, David. I call up that person that will hear it and be like, I'm so sorry. That's so mean. Like, immediately has my back and is on my side. And sometimes I start that before I'm even leaving the office. I've started like texting, all caps, I'm so annoyed, I'm so frustrated. I remember one time, this was when I was still finger sticking and before I was on the Dexcom, I was told by a nurse that basically I was finger sticking too many times. And at that time I was finger sticking 10 times, which maybe you think that's a lot, maybe not, but I think you get like 236 readings on the Dexcom G6 every day. I know that's a continuous glucose monitor, but 10 times pales in comparison to that, just for my own self-defense. But I was told that I was being obsessive and that it wasn't healthy, and that if I continued to test that much, they were going to consider taking my pump away from me. Now that was a particularly poor one, and I sorted it out. They never took my pump away from me. So immediately after that appointment, I was on the phone to my husband. I was venting, I was crying, I was like just freaking out. So the first thing I do is call up that friend that you know is gonna have your back, be on your side, and listen. Next up, number 2, I treat myself. I treat myself to something lovely. Whether that be going out and buying a piece of clothing, or buying a coffee, or going to a movie, or buying a little sweet treat, which I often want to do. Planning to go out for dinner with my husband or a friend. I plan something that is actively lovely for myself. And that is a very deliberate choice, because oftentimes when I've had bad endo appointments, I will walk out and feel like I need to punish myself. I'm not good enough. I don't deserve nice things. I need to knuckle down. I need to stop doing anything fun. Punish myself for the outcome of that appointment and the outcome of how that appointment made me feel, which is so not productive, at least in my opinion. I don't respond well at all to negative, harsh love, or whatever people want to call it. I just think it's mean, and I think there are a lot more healthy ways to encourage somebody to change if that's indeed what you think they need to do. So I actively do something nice for myself, because just like that person that you've called that has your back and you know they're going to be there for you to vent, really legitimize what you're feeling, I like to do that for myself. It's a nice thing to do practically, but it's also a nice way to say to my subconscious, to my nervous system, to all the things, hey, you're okay. The last thing you deserve right now is to punish yourself. And this is the exact opposite of that, what we're gonna do right now. And that's all there is to it. Diabetes is hard enough as it is. We don't need to go around punishing ourselves. I believe that wholeheartedly. Number 3 is sometimes really hard, but that is let time pass. Let time pass. Let that heat of that initial feeling cool down. Let all those emotions out, and then give yourself time to just distance yourself from that appointment, that experience that has made you feel so angry and frustrated and alone and burnt out and all the things. And I say that can be difficult because sometimes what comes up in that time passing is painful and it's hard to sit with. So I'm not saying sit and do nothing, but I am saying give yourself that space and that time just to cool down, let everything settle, and then move on to step 4. My step 4 is I get really, really quiet with myself, and I sit down and I try to very objectively pick apart what I can gain from the appointment. You know, these appointments can be really expensive or they can be really few and far between. And I do believe regardless of the negative noise, there's always something to be gained from that. And that mining for positivity is important because of twofold. First of all, you get some positives out of the appointment, things that you can do differently, behaviors that you want to challenge, but also in terms of how you're going to proceed with either that doctor or with other endocrinologists that might come at you in a similar fashion. You gain the knowledge to get that head on your shoulders so that when you feel like an appointment is running away with itself in terms of negativity, you either ask that doctor to speak to you in a different way or to relate to you in a different way. You express what you need and how best it can be described to you, and try to tailor that experience more directly with what you need to be productive and successful as a type 1 diabetic, or you find another doctor. And I know that's not a possibility for everyone, so that's why all the aforementioned finding positivity and mining it and finding a way to communicate with your doctor to try to find a ground that you can discuss things in a more positive way. But if you can change doctor and that's something that you want to do, this gives you a little something more to research and look out for when you're looking for another endocrinologist. I love my endocrinologist right now. I adore him. And I got very, 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 very lucky in that he was in my insurance network and in my area. And also because I know I need that positive reinforcement, I was looking in reviews of the doctors online to see where I can see people speaking from a positive point of view in terms of the doctor's bedside manner and behavior. And the only other thing is, in terms of getting quiet with myself in this step number 4, there have been times where maybe the doctor hasn't expressed it in a good way for me to hear, but they've expressed something very true that I recognize as true and has hit a nerve with me. And it's hit a nerve with me not only because of the way it's been explained, but because I know it's true and I'm frustrated and I don't want to do the work to change it, or I don't know how to change it. There have been times where I've walked away from appointments feeling really stung because I knew I needed to hear that, and in actually hearing it, it really hurt and frustrated me, and I felt vulnerable and called out. But that tends to be pretty rare in my experience. So though it is rare, it is something that's happened in the past, so I thought I'd mention it because that too can be learned and mined from, and you can take it a step further and learn from your own psychological reaction, which can be very interesting and very linked with type 1 diabetes. For example, I had a while where I went through and I did not want to go high. I found highs and ending up in those higher ranges just exhausted me so much that I was like, rather be low than high. So I just kept driving myself low, and it was a really bad behavior. And when a doctor called me out on that, that was really hard to hear, because I was like, but I'm so scared of being high. It robs me of my energy, and lows rob me of my energy too, but I can fix them, and I fix them quickly. But with highs, they tend to just sit there, and they just rob me of my day, and da-da-da-da-da. I actually took part in a research study in the UK of people that preferred to run lower than higher, and sort of like a psychological study. So that's an example of something that I was really able to unpick psychologically why I was doing that. And though it really stung to hear that and be seen as doing that behavior, ultimately when I stepped back and I unpicked it, I took part in that study. I did like 6 sessions with a diabetes specific psychologist who we did some work with, like challenging that mindset. And it was really positive, but it was really hard. And it was not something that I could fix in the moment. And it was something that I was doing because I didn't like the alternative. I didn't like the possibility that I could be running high. So not only did I change something practically for myself as a result of something quite negative and quite stingy, but I learned something about myself in the process that I can apply moving forward. But these things don't happen overnight, obviously. Those are the 4 things I do. If there is something else that you do that you find really is helpful or has worked for you in the past, please, please, please comment down below and let me know, because you guys always have a kaleidoscope of different ways people deal with different things when it comes to type 1 diabetes, because as we all know, it's all very, very, very personal. So if you have anything that you can shed light on or share, or you just need to vent because you've just had one of those appointments, go for it. Down below, you have my full blessing, and I will be there and be that friend. So with that being said, I wish you guys a wonderful day wherever you are in this world. I wish you great blood sugars and positive, productive endocrinology appointments that serve you in the way that you need to be served. But most of all, and most importantly, I wish you a happy, healthy mind with it all. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next time.